YouTube, what it do?
For the old man.
We are back in this. Back. OOTP Baseball. Episode number 8. Miami Marlins, led by GM Kevin Oleman.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
That's right, that's me. Or at least that's who I'm playing in this series. Old Man Games coming at you. We are coming off of the trade deadline where within the month of July we pulled off 8 trades. That's right, I said it. 8 trades. So there's a whole lot of new faces that need to gel into the roster. In this upcoming episode number 8, we are going to try to, at my very best, simulate through the rest of the season or get as close to that as possible. The way the cadence will work is we're going to start with reviewing, where the team is currently, which you can see that, but I'll go over it. And then we'll cover the player development update for July, which just ended. So we have the report for July, then we'll simulate August, review the player development report for August, then simulate September. Basically, wash, rinse, repeat until we get through the end of the season, or at least as far as we can go within the time parameters. All right, so let's get into this. Your Miami Marlins, here we are, currently in last place in the NL East. So that's 5th in the NL East with a 49-56 record, 9 games out of first place. We are now 7 games below 500. Fell on hard times in this last episode. July was just not good to the team at the end of July. The last few months, actually. Before we jump to the schedule, like I said, let's hop over to the player development update. All right, so here we are. As we've been doing, I'm just gonna scroll through this and call out anything that jumps out. First thing off the top, Dax Fulton with the 2 negatives, that jumps out. He just previously, earlier this season, won the Rookie of the Month award, I think for the first month of the season. So we'll keep an eye on that. Chase Strump with 2 pluses. Remember, he's one of the guys we picked up in the trades, in one of the 8 trades. So was Lucas Gilbreth. Now this looks here, let me pull it up so we can really see it. I don't know if you remember, but this guy right here, Kevin Gatley, he was also in one of the trades. He was in the huge trade that included our former starter, Luzardo. So he was in that Luzardo trade to Oakland. And look at that. He was the one I was really excited about, but all pluses in his update, 5 pluses in total. That's really encouraging, good to see. Here's a couple of our draft picks. Well, no, wait, Cam Day, not Cam Day. He's too old. Jorge Cartagena, he was the first round pick, so he has a plus and a minus. That's fair. Aaron Estrada, he was a player that we drafted. He was included in one of the drafts, if you recall. Jaden Stroman, let me pull that up. So if you remember, in earlier draft reports, Jalen Stroman had all negatives. Then he somehow managed to make his way onto the All-Star team for the minor leagues, or the Future Stars All-Star team. And then looks like he's turning it around. So that's a good thing. That's encouraging to see. Look here at Cy McFarland. He was in the draft class a year prior to Kevin Oleman's takeover. So we didn't draft him, we inherited him. Ben Cleaver, if I'm not mistaken, he was in one of the trades we just made. Yeah, man, our development is looking really encouraging. Makai Matthews. Oh, wait, 1 second. Okay, Makai was a draft pick from 2025, but it looks like he's developing well, and that's a good sign. So yeah, that's the player development report for the month of July, dated August 1st, and we'll hop into the schedule. All right, here we are with the August schedule in front of us. This is what it looked like. This is what we got coming up. Finishing off a series with Philly, then we go on the road for the rest of the week in back-to-back series. Come home for 3 series in a row, then back on the road for 2 series, then back home for 2 series to close out the month. So that's what August looks like. I'm gonna simulate through that, and we will be right back. Actually, no, you know what? Before I simulate through August, let me just give a quick rundown of where we are in the season. So we already gave the update on where we are with our record, but here's a more in-depth breakdown. So yeah, we're 5th in the division, but what I didn't mention is we're 9th in the wild card race. We actually have a winning record at home. We just can't win on the road, and we cannot win in extra innings. We're 1-6 in extra inning games. We're 14-15 in 1-run games. I always say, whenever you have a team that has a good 1-run game record, you're gonna have a good overall record. And then here's our record, the split between lefties and righties. Our last 10 games, like I said, we ended off July on a sour note, 3 for 7, so 3 out of our last 10. And then here's the month by month breakdown. So we started the season with a winning record, 15-12 the month of April. Then we losing record in May, 13-15, June 11-15, and then just July 10-14. So we're looking to get back on the winning track. Quick look at our offensive breakdown. We are looks like we're ranked in the top 10 in 4 categories. So in hits, we're tied for 9th with 895 hits. Strikeouts, we are not tied. Strikeouts, we're 8th, and I believe 908. That means the team with the fewest number of strikeouts, I believe, is the number 1 team. So I think it's in descending order. And then stolen bases, we have 61. That's good for 7th in the National League. And base running, we're plus 10.4, so, and that's good for 4th in the National League. Which base running, our coaches, we have really good coaches for this, so I would expect for us to be definitely in the top 10 and somewhere hovering within the top 5 on a yearly basis with the coaching staff we currently have. All right, and then a quick look at our defensive breakdown as it currently stands going into the month of August. Let's see, we have really good pitching and defense when you look at this, right? Like, basically, we are top 10 in all but 1 category, and that 1 category is bases on balls, where we're number 12. We're number 2 in home runs allowed, which is awesome. But again, we just traded a couple pitchers. I don't think that will impact that in a negative way, though, actually. Our bullpen ERA is number 5. Hits allowed, we're number 5. Defensive efficiency, we're 5th. Zone rating, we're 4th. So again, we have really good defense, really good pitching. All right, so let's hop back to the schedule. So I'm going to sim through the month of August. Like I said, we'll come back with the results and see what it do. All right, we're back. As you can see here, Miami Marlins, we remain in last place in the NL East. However, we improved slightly. We are now 64-69, 8 games behind first place, 5 games under 500. Remember, prior to simulating the month of August, we were 7 games under 500. So we improved there. Before we go anywhere else, we're going to take a look at the development update. Okay, here we are with the development update. This is for the month of August. I'm going to scroll through and highlight anything that stands out. Max Mayer, I think it's Mayer actually, Max Mayer. One thing I want to point out about him, even though this is a negative and plus and minus, so it's like a wash, but if you recall, we gave him an extension in the off season. I want to say 5-year extension, but he has been balling out. I mean, he's been phenomenal for us so far this year as the closer. So I just want to point that out about him. Logan Tanner, 2 pluses. Tyler Petterini, I think I figured out how to say his name. Petterini, all pluses, so that's good. He's been playing a lot more for us at the DH spot, and it's showing in his development, as you can see. Jarlin Susanna, this is a guy we picked up in the trade just prior to the start of the season. Right, Ronnie Henriquez. We got a lot of, I mean, some, you know, that aren't looking too good, like these two, but for the most part, this is a good looking development report right here. A lot of players popping with a lot of positive feedback. Cam Kidd here, he's one of our draft picks from this past season, from this past draft, as is Eric Strickland. So these are 2 of our draft picks. So yeah, that's the player development for the month of August. Not too bad. Okay, let's take a quick look at the August calendar. One thing that stood out to me about the month of August and how we played is we had 2 5-game winning streaks and only 1 3-game losing streak. So here's one of the 5 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then there was a 3-game losing streak, and then we followed that up with another 5-game winning streak. So that was interesting. Take a look at the home screen. A few things to point out here quickly. One is that our all-star second baseman, Ceddanne Rafaela, he went down with an oblique strain, so he's on the injured list. We had to put him on the 10-day injured list, and I think he's down for about 2 weeks, so he has some time there. In his place, we called up Noah Miller, and you may or may not recall, but Noah Miller is a player that we acquired in one of the trades that we just made in the prior month in August. He was actually on the MiLB team I think we got him from Minnesota. Yeah, we got him from Minnesota. And he was actually on the MiLB team in Minnesota. Once we got him, we had to send him to our AAA. But now he's just been called back up, albeit briefly, to give a spell for an injured Ceddanne Rafaela, whatever. But yeah, so that's that. Noah Miller has been called up. And then the other thing to point out, oh, not here. Hold on, let me go to the organization screen. So being that we are now at September 1st, we are at the roster expansion date. So, which means we were able to call up 2 players, and generally what I like to do at this point is call up both one pitcher and a fielder. So the pitcher that we decided to call up in this instance is a young guy, but I want to see how he responds. It's Jarlin Susanna. Again, this is the guy we picked up in the trade. We acquired him in the trade from Washington just before the opening of the season at 3/30/27. And this is what he looks like. He's looking pretty good right now. And he's played at the major league level previously for Washington, so I think he's definitely ready. He's just 23 years old. He's having a decent season at the AAA level. So we'll call him up and see what he can do. And then fielding wise, even though he's injured at the moment, we called up Adrian Pinto. This is another player we acquired via trade, and he was in one of the 8 trades that went down in July, just this past July. He's currently day-to-day for the next 2 weeks with a sprained knee. The reason we zeroed in on him to call him up was because on our depth chart, we only had one guy available to pinch run. And as you can see, Adrian Pinto excels at running, and he's one of the best runners that was on our AAA roster. So we decided to give him the call up, and that will make the 28. So that's how we filled out the 28. We made other moves, like I said before. Oh, one of the things we've had to do that I want to point out is in order to call Adrian Pinto up, he was not on the 40-man roster. So in order to do that, we had to drop someone off the 40-man roster. And unfortunately, that meant we had to drop Ben Brutti. You never know, he may clear roster. He may clear waivers, he may not. As you recall, previously we just had to waive Bryce Jarvis for the second time, but as you see, he's here on the AAA roster. So he recently just cleared waivers and made his way back to our AAA roster. You take a look at the info screen. For now, we'll just focus on the overall, just to show that for the month of August, we had our first winning month since April. So we finished with 15-13 record, which is how we gained the 2 games. Remember, I said prior to the simulation we were 7 games under 500. Now we're 5 games under 500. Here's the answer for that. Okay, so here's what September's schedule looks like. We're gonna go ahead and simulate through this. Actually, before we do, let's take a peek at October to see how many games we have. Okay, there's only 3 games in the month of October, so I actually think we may have enough time to wrap the entire season. So we're gonna do what we just did all over again, this time with the month of September. We'll be back with those results in just a moment. All right, we're back, and you know what? I just decided to go ahead and simulate through the rest of the season. There were only 3 games in October, so here we are. It did not look good. However, we did end much better than the team we inherited, which has been the theme of this season, is just to finish better than what they were last year. So as you can see here, your Miami Marlins finished 72-90, good for last place in the NL East. 21 games out of the lead. That's what, like 18 games under 500. It was a valiant effort. It's gonna take time to shape and mold this franchise. And to be completely honest, I'm not 100% sure if the manager we have is the right guy, but we're gonna let him fill it out and we'll see. We'll see what it is. I think he had a fairly decent first season considering the history of this franchise, which we'll get into at some point. But first, let me quickly jump into the development update for the final month, which will be the month of September. Okay, here we are. Here's September's development update. Now, there aren't going to be as many players on here because by this time, many of our minor league affiliates have ended their seasons much earlier in the calendar, so there's not much to evaluate to end up on this list. Although still another really good report. Really happy to see this. This is our number 1 pick, Jorge Cartagena. So it's good to see him on these development reports. 1, but then 2, especially with the positives. Colt Myers with all positive. Remember him? This is the guy who we drafted as a 3rd baseman, who I said I was gonna convert to first base. And here he shows up on the report as a first baseman with 3 pluses, so that's all good. Alright, so that'll round out the report. That's basically the final report of the season because this team did not make the playoffs as expected. Okay, a look here at the home screen, where again you can see our standings here, but also you can see our team leaders in various categories. So our batting leader ended up being Henry. I think you pronounce this Bolt. If I pronounced it differently at earlier points in the season, I stand corrected. And I still may be wrong, so I don't know where I stand actually.
Come on now.
But if you remember, this is the guy who prior to the season, I was like, yo, we just hope he can fulfill his potential essentially. And it looks like he's getting there. I mean, 276 isn't really the best batting average in the world, but I'll give him credit to lead his team in batting average. And then he also led in home runs with 32. So he definitely fulfilled his power, and I still think he's just scratching the surface there. Then he led as well with RBI, and then he was number 2 stolen base. Damn, yo, Henry Bolt, he had a breakout season. Hold on, let me look at this. Oh yeah, definitely. I give it to the coaching. It has to be the coaching. And see, he's a strikeout artist, so he'll strike out more than he gets hits, which that irks the heck out of me, which may end up leading to him getting traded, but it is what it is. Not to break any hearts, but it may come down to that. But anyhow, great season by him to lead in several categories like that. And then if you look on the pitching side, as you would expect, Yuri Perez, who also, real quick, if you take a look down here, he ended up on the injured list, but he was a workhorse this season. Just real quick, let me look at Yuri. This is the most innings he's pitched, at least in the, hold on, it might be in his career so far. Yep, this is the most innings he's pitched in his career. He scratched the surface, almost hit 200. Just 24. Damn, he's a baby. Already in year 5. That's crazy. But yeah, this is what his season turned out to look like. Alright, back to the categories. So yeah, Yuri led in ERA. Dax Fulton, he's a rookie actually. He's in the 3-way tie, and maybe even more than that, with wins at 11. Yuri Perez led the way by far with 175 strikeout, which of course you would imagine that with him leading in innings as well, 198, almost led by 30 in that category. Rhyming all over the place. Alright, and then here's what our batting order looked like. Although this wasn't necessarily static, it's more dynamic. This is just a feel for what the normal lineup would look like, although it does vary from game to game. You know, some players may be tired, things of that nature. But yeah, so this is the season, man. Year number 1 in the books. Alright, if we come here to the team history page, you can see, so this is Oleman's first year. So this is the first year we just went through, 2027. And as you can see, we inherited a team that previously lost 104 games. So that's a 14-game improvement right there. And we'll see where we can take it in year 2. Quick flip to the financials. Look at where this ended up, guys. Total money available, $52.2 million. Money for extensions, we damn near doubled it. It's up to $14.6 million. So one thing I'm gonna do between now and the next episode, when we come back on the next episode, by the time we come back on the next episode, being that we did not make the playoffs, I'm gonna come back at the point where we have simulated through the end of the playoffs, and I'll be reporting the results and we'll pick up from there. But what I'm gonna be doing, I say all that to say, what I will be doing in the background is making a few, I'll be willing and dealing, essentially. And with that, in terms of internally, one thing is I'll be evaluating our coaching staff to see if there's anybody that we need to let go of this season, as well as, you know, I'm sure there are going to be some positions that open up But then 2, I'm also going to be looking at our players to see whose contracts are coming up and who need, if there's anybody worthy of an extension, basically is what I'm trying to get at. But yeah, so as you can see though, I think this little increment here really helped to bump up that we did from 47 up to 50 cents. So attendance year over year increased 13.1%. Revenue per game year over year increased 13% in addition to these balances that I said. So that's really good. You can see in total attendance, we ended up here with 1.5 million, just under 1.6 million, which is pretty good. That's almost a 200,000 increase, but not quite, just under 200,000. And again, we're aiming ultimately to surpass 1.75. So we need like another 200 to go to get to that point. So we're like right in the middle. But yeah, all in all, financially, I think we had a fairly decent season off the field to go along with what we did on the field. But yeah, that'll do it. That'll wrap the season 72-90, year 1 under Kevin Oleman. Again, when we come back on the next episode, we will have wrapped the playoffs. We will be we'll basically be in off-season mode, looking to work through arbitration and the winter meetings and so essentially calendar wise, when we come back on the next episode, we're going to be looking to move from late October / early November, whenever the playoffs end, all the way through the end of the calendar year. And that'll essentially be the next episode. So that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching. Thank you for making it with us through this season, year 1. Who think we're gonna do better next season? If you made it this far, comment down below if you think next season is gonna be a better year or a worse year. I mean, I guess you're gonna be betting blindly because we haven't made our off-season moves yet. But yeah, we, you know what I'm saying, based on how you see how we get down, which you can make, your prediction at this point, I guess. But yeah, anyhow, that's it for this one.
For the old man.
Time.
Until the next time, peace.